Welcome to the Town of Ajax. Woo! I'm your host, Josie Dye, and I am so excited to be here. In fact, I grew up just a couple streets away in Pickering, Ontario. Boo, hey, come on! This was my community center. Come on, don't boo me. I actually boxed here, as of recently. So, I've been here. My mom still works in Ajax. I consider all of us Durham Regioners, and that's why I am so excited to be here. I actually worked at a radio station called 102.1 The Edge back in the early 2000s for a good 15 years. And that's how I was introduced to the band we're about to introduce to you. I just want to say, I want to go back to 1996, because 1996, there were a group of guys just learning how to play guitar, trying to figure it all out. Who would have known that they would go from there to selling 15 million records, right? Who would have known that they would tour around the world, that they would win Junos, that they would be nominated for a Grammy, and then to top it all off, and I don't even know if we're all even aware of this yet, but then to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here in Canada in the future, because that's coming up. How crazy is that? And now, of course, we are welcoming them home. So I know you just clapped, but let's do it again. Please help me welcome Derek, Cone, Brownsound, Tom, Frank from Sum 41. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Get yourself comfortable, because we're going to be here for a bit. First of all, I don't know if I can swear. Holy crap, that was amazing last night. Was everybody, were you guys there? I see a lot of t-shirts. I just, round table here, how did it feel? How did last night feel?
I mean, it was great. It was, for one, we love being on stage, so it's always great. But it was definitely emotional and probably mixed emotions. And
I still don't know how to feel.
I think we're still trying to process it, to be honest.
Exhausted.
I can't even believe you're doing this today. I love that you're doing this, but I can't, right? I can't believe you agreed to this. Tom, how was it for you?
Pardon me?
I love how this interview is going to go. How was it for you?
It was great. I'm a little deaf because I had to play 3 times on this tour.
That's
so,
true.
It's a lot of rock and roll.
Hardest working man on tour.
Yeah. I'm pretty beat up physically and emotionally. It was the first time we went on the encore that it's just, I go up every night and it's just me on the piano at first. But that was the first time where tears running down my face while doing it. The song hit me last night. And I don't know, the whole thing didn't hit me until the night before the last show. I'm like, oh my God, this is the last show tomorrow night. And here we are. And haven't processed it yet. But.
Frank?
I've just got an emotional hangover right now. My body, just from we've done, I don't know, what did they say, 140 shows?
130 shows on this year.
So it's a lot. But it's been so incredible, and it's been just a journey. Some nights have just been so funny, we're just having so much fun, and some nights have been very emotional. But last night I just think, and I don't want to get emotional right now, but just all of our parents, our kids, it was.
Yeah.
Cone told me, I was talking to Cone earlier. I was talking to you earlier. Hi, Cone. And you said that there was this beautiful impromptu speech before last night.
Yeah, I kind of put Dave on the spot in the dressing room.
Yeah.
The Billy Talent guys were there, the Gob guys were there, a bunch of our crew people, family. I said, Dave, you want to say something?
Yeah.
He was like, sure.
Yeah. Me being who I am, I just stepped right up, of course.
Can you give us a bit of that? Can you tell us, like, not, you don't have to act it out or anything, but what did you say?
Yeah, you can look. It was the first verse to "Just Give Me the Light" by Sean Paul. So it's good. No, for real.
You just pulled that one out?
Yeah, man. That's how it happens. That's how it happens. That's why I stepped right up, because honestly, it had been something that I had noticed. We'd met up with a friend at Soundcheck, an old friend of ours named Mel. And I just noticed that I was looking at Mel, and we were talking, but I was also reliving all these moments that we had had back in the day. Like, we used to go up there 3 a.m, go rent the worst movies that have ever been made, and just make these memories together. So that was what kind of got us through the day, was just being surrounded by love, being surrounded by people that we love, and reliving these moments to make us not dwell on, something that could be very dark and very, very bad. It made it something really beautiful.
Did you guys expect this kind of, like, unbelievable warmth and just the way that everyone came out for you at the end? Like, did you expect this going into this last tour?
No, not at all. No, I mean, we didn't really know what to expect. We didn't really think about it. We were just going to go out on tour and just, say goodbye to whoever wanted to come. But we weren't expecting it to be as emotional as it was. So I think one of the biggest things for me, seeing it every night, seeing the faces, because like our shows are always wild and there's a lot of energy, and the music lends itself to people jumping around, body surfing, all that stuff. So it's always kind of a crazy crowd. But the difference this time was there was so much emotion in everybody's face wherever we went, all over the world, and there was still all that crazy body surfing and mosh pits and stuff like that. But the amount of like the big smiles, it wasn't people crying, it wasn't like emotional, like people were sad. It was like a celebration, and that felt stronger. And that was probably the biggest surprise to see, especially when you break into a song and you can see people's faces light up, or sometimes like in some certain songs they would cry. To see, you don't know what the music has meant to some of these people because you don't know them, but you can tell that they've had some great experiences with them. And I think I noticed that more on this tour than any other tour.
What was the hardest song for you to sing last night?
I think it's the same song that's hard all the time, which is a song called With Me. And it's a song that I get told a lot that has been used at people's weddings. It's their first dance, and it's usually a lot of couples, their couple song. And I'm always afraid I'm going to mess it up. And I know it means a lot to a lot of people around the world. And so there's always so much pressure on that song. And I'm always afraid that I'm going to mess up the lyrics to that song.
I was there last night, and I was standing beside this random guy, and I was we just started talking, and I realized that he had a French accent, and that he actually
It's probably right there. I'm in.
Where is he? Oh my God! Hi, how are you? It's so nice to see you again.
Yeah, I'm in.
Are you an Ajax resident?
So
These guys.
Hi. So you have people that you've worked with around the world come here to see you. Like, that's how. I don't know what that says about you. I mean, that must mean that you guys just are really good people, that the people who work with you, the people who love you, are here for the end.
In fact, the fella next to him flew in from Finland.
You flew in from Finland.
Our fans have a lot of money.
Just as a fan.
He's also a pilot.
Wow. Unbelievable. Well, thank you, and welcome to the Town of Ajax.
How did you get in here, though?
We have a lot of audience questions, so I have to stop. But I have to say, I just need to say this before we get to our first audience question. We went through some of them. And I love you guys. So many people are like, are you playing this festival? Are you going to play this festival next? Will you be playing this? Will you be playing Coachella this summer? I don't think it's actually sunk into them either. You know what I mean?
Sounds like some promoters snuck in.
Yeah. I was going to say, we do get a lot of people saying, will you play this festival this summer? And we're like, this, we're broken up now. Yeah. This is it.
We got to ask what's next, but we will get to that. First of all, let's find our first question if we can. We do have a roaming mic. Oh, it might take us a second.
Can I have Matthew Peck put their hand up for me? Matthew Peck, hey.
All right. Hey. Oh, you got a mic coming.
Oh, yeah, you got the shirt. Nice work.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love seeing it in the wild.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
So this question is for Dave. I've had this question on my mind for like 7 years, and now I get to finally ask it, which is cool. So I had a teacher in grade 8 named Mr. Nyman, and he said he taught you.
Yeah,
Is-
absolutely. Yeah, he was one of my favorite teachers, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he saw me wearing a Sum 41 shirt, and he was like, you know I taught him, right? And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Nyman's a great teacher.
Just you?
Yeah, actually, one of my favorites from.
We all went to school together.
Guys,
We went to the same school.
it wasn't like July 26, 1980, and then July 27th, I was in Exeter. I went to elementary school first. So yeah, he was at Duffin's Bay. He was a great
Yeah,
teacher.
Duffin's Bay, yeah.
Taught me and a few of my cousins.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now I'm good. I'm glad I can confirm it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't egg his house. It's real. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for making music and for inspiring me and plenty of others. It means a lot to all of us. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. You mean a lot to us too. Thank you.
I'm going to give this to you to sign, if that's okay. While we're on this subject of Ajax, let's, Derek, you and I were talking a little bit about where you grew up.
Yep.
And what did you do today? Maybe you can tell us that.
So, well, I moved quite a bit, but for a couple years, I lived, I'm not sure what direction we are, but I lived in the Monarch Views, which I'm going to pretend it's that way. It's that way? Okay, so I lived in the Monarch Views for a few years, and that's where Sum 41 started, in the basement of the place there. That's where we thought of the name, and then the bedroom I wrote all the early songs in, and that's where we formed.
Did you go look at it?
Yeah, we drove by, we took the camera by, and did a little tour of the neighborhood.
Do you ever feel like knocking on the door and being like, hi, I'm Derek. I used to live here?
No,
Can I buy this
don't.
place from you?
No, not really.
Okay, all right. I'll end with that. I know.
Well, because right when I told that story, I said, so this is where I, started the band, and, that was the bedroom. And then right here, this is where, like, this big fight happened. The guy got his nose kicked off and all this kind of stuff. It was kind of a lot of little violent stories
Right,
there.
right. And
So,
you have
I don't think I want to knock at
children.
anybody's doors.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's probably not a good idea.
I feel like Jesse Pinkman would answer the door now.
What was it like? And I know from your book, which is incredible, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Could we also clap for Walking the Master? Unbelievable read. And we'll get to that if we have time. We'll get to that. We want to get to that. But I know how you met Dave, and I know how you met Cone, but I don't know about the other way around. So I want to know, Dave, for you, what was it like the first time you met Derek?
Well, we were seated together in transportation tech, and we just started talking.
Yeah, it was just like right away.
Yeah,
It was just
absolutely.
like we just sat down for the first day of high school.
Yeah. So
And,
much that we had a South African teacher named Mr. Aronson,
Mr. Aronson, yeah.
and he would just his sentences would always just sound like one word. So we were talking so much that he was just like, "You just start talking, or I'm going to put a boot up your butt." And we were like, "We don't know what he said," so we just kept on talking. We got kicked out together. Yeah.
Then we got detention together, and
Yeah.
Cone, what about you?
Similar, history, geography, I believe, right?
Yeah,
And
first day of school,
We were
high school.
seated close.
Yeah.
And I think just because we were in different bands, I think we like gravitated towards each other. Started playing kind of shows right away, kind of basement shows. All three
You
of
know,
our
we call them
bands.
shows.
Practices. Practices with our friends there.
Parents for the audience.
Yeah.
Did you ever, I know I talked to your mom outside, who's right here. Hi, how are you?
Roxy.
And she said that you knew at 14 years old that you'd be famous.
Oh, no. I knew I'd be doing something with guitars.
Sorry.
Mom.
See, did you hear that? Your
Easy.
mom just said you told her you were going to be a rock star.
We remember things differently in Caribbean families. Yeah.
Growing up here, Durham region boys, did you know you'd move away though? And by the way, that's no slag on this place. I grew up in Pickering. This is what shaped me. But at some point, you want to conquer the world, right? Like, that's what you want to do. So did you know that you would go do that?
I think so. For me, I mean, I talk about it in my book a lot. I moved a lot. So I was always used to moving every year and a half, 2 years, something like that. So for me, and then we got on the road and have been touring since we were 19, 18 years old. So I've just always been constantly moving,
So it's easy.
moving
It was
around.
easy for you to move.
For
right?
me, yeah, it was.
Yeah. And you guys are still kind of local right now.
Yeah, but as soon as I could, I moved downtown. No offense.
I know, I keep saying that, no offense. If we could get another question, because I know we have a whole bunch, so maybe we can do 2 or 3 in a row with the roaming mic.
Yeah, do we have Sean Cunningham?
So questions for pretty much all of you. Do any of you guys have any plans to maybe possibly in the future, like revive the Chameleon or something like that? You know,
man.
to get some live music going out in Durham region?
We were just talking about the Chameleon. I drove
Yeah.
by there today, and it's an OK tire. And
OK
you were
tire.
saying that you heard it's going to be...
Someone told me they were ripping the building down, unfortunately.
Might be a chance for a new start.
Possibly.
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, it's in a bit of a strange area for a hangout.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
now,
in
but
the-
still, I think Durham needs some kind of live music
I
venue.
agree
agree.
with you.
Just
agree,
to promote
yeah.
young bands and stuff too.
I agree with you.
Just a thought, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, all ages venues would be great if they could exist in today's business model for venues. It just takes someone to really believe in a scene and make it happen again.
Thank you. And we'll go to the next question. I just don't want to miss anybody, and I know we have a whole bunch of them, so.
That's
Jen
okay.
Denome?
Jen?
Jen.
Oh, right over here.
Should have done a map before
I know.
I started
Sorry,
this.
guys.
10,000 steps.
We've kind of written 2 questions. Okay, yeah, this is the one I wanted to know. Because I've lived in the Durham region 20-ish years or whatever, and every time I'd be on the 401, I would see some 41 mom, the license plate. So,
See, I told you. Get rid of that thing.
so I was like, which one has some 41 mom? And did he buy you the car?
I didn't even buy the license plate, let alone the car.
So I loved it. I loved seeing it, and I'd just be like, "Oh, that's one of some 41's moms."
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. If we could call the next question, and I'll ask a question at the same time, that would be awesome. Then we could, yeah.
Kelly Gaspersky.
All right. Guys, question before we get to Kelly. You all have children. What
Yeah.
happens if your kids say they want to be in a band?
See, it's a great hobby. I think, yeah, I mean, Max right here loves music, likes playing drums. So, yeah, I'd encourage that, for sure.
Yeah, so far it seems like our kids really like music. I mean, we'd never want to discourage them from anything they want to do.
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
First off, thank you very much for coming here. It means a lot to all of us. I know you already talked about it a little bit, but I was just wondering, how do you feel returning to Ajax, and what has changed the most since you remember it from growing up?
A lot of shit.
Yeah, like this place.
But yeah, it's just like we were saying. It felt so much smaller when we were growing up. There wasn't a lot of stuff to do.
The population was under 40,000
Yeah,
people.
it was really small.
There's no movie theater, even, when we
Yeah,
were
there was
kids.
just not much to do, which in a way was good because it forced us to be creative and start bands and play music and stuff like that. But it's changed a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's just so much bigger.
There's just a lot more people.
Stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Townhouses going up like every.
Yeah.
Submarine machine is still there, though.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. That is an institution right there. Yeah.
Frank, Tom, I know you guys are not from Ajax. First of all, last night was incredible, and I'm so happy that I was able to see you guys perform because I haven't seen you live before with the band. What was it like for you guys when you joined? What were the fans like to you? Because that's got to be hard.
It was easy because I knew the guys very well. We had toured together and we're good friends, so that was easy. The fans, most of the fans were pretty welcoming to me, but there were the odd ones. I mean, I had big shoes to fill because Dave had left the band and then I came in the band, and so there would be the odd comment like, "He can't do it like Dave." And I'm doing my best, okay? I think I'm doing pretty good, but yeah, big shoes. But I think most of the fans were really lovely and welcoming, and I've known Amin and Tommy and a lot of the fans forever. And we have a great relationship with the fans. We were always very accessible and appreciated their fanship, and they would help promote the band, and we all understood that. So, yeah, great relationship.
It was a great, easy transition for the situation that it was. Like, I just wanted to pay respect to, the way these songs were recorded, and, naturally you do your thing because you are who you are, and just wanted to be as authentic as possible. And I felt the love right away, and they've been there. But also, the pretty amazing thing was Dave got back in the band. So kind of the spotlight was off me because Dave was back in the band. So I was kind of just like, I'll be in the back and do my thing. And it was pretty exciting. And that's when I met Dave, in the first rehearsal. I knew the other guys, especially Derek, for years, and was a huge fan. So it was just a very natural, easy, way to get in and start this journey, which has been a decade already, which is insane.
Derek, for all the songs that you've written, what was the hardest one that the one that was most challenging to write?
Some of them are really easy, some of them are hard. I would say, and it's funny because I always say, the Fat Lip and In Too Deep were both on All Killer. They're both the first two singles. Fat Lip was really hard and took a long time, and In Too Deep was so quick. But they were written around the same time. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know why. There's no reason why one's harder, one's not. But I would say Fat Lip was a very difficult song.
Do you have songs that you've written in your head for Sum 41 that you haven't released yet?
Oh yeah, there's always been a bunch of songs that just are half finished, and I have a riff and it could never get anywhere, or I got a verse and no chorus, and for some reason, there's songs on this latest record, Heaven and Hell, that were written back in 2002, 2003, but just never finished. And then finally, almost 20 years later, I was able to finish it. I don't know why it takes that long for some songs, and some songs take 10 minutes.
So what happens, I'm just asking the questions everyone wants me to ask. What happens if, 6 months from now, you're sitting there and it all just comes to you, these songs that you can't finish, and it comes to you and you're like, this is Sum 41, this is Sum 41, don't make me. I mean, because we would be okay with that. You know what I mean? We're all fine with that.
Are you playing Hellfest this year?
Look at me. I said I didn't ask them those questions. I'm like, no, but I can ask you the same question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think about that kind of stuff.
Because we're okay if you change your mind. We'll just, you can just sit with that, and it's fine, and we'll leave it alone.
There have been moments on this tour where, we're sitting out there looking at the crowd and playing, and there'll be these moments of wow, is this really the right decision? Because it's pretty awesome.
It's pretty amazing. Your parents, how did they feel about this? How do they feel about, so many questions, so I'll try to narrow it down. How do they feel about the breakup of Sum 41? Is there anyone that took it really hard?
I'd say they're probably devastated.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Dave, what about your mom?
I think my mom's ad revenue is about to go down for her YouTube channel. No, I don't know. I think that our parents feel more pride.
Yeah, I think our parents want us to be happy, obviously. Do what we want to do.
Yeah.
Do you guys think also about what you've accomplished? I was just sitting beside someone yesterday who said to me, talked about how in the future you guys are going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I think some people, when they actually look at the numbers, they don't actually look at the numbers. When they look at the numbers, if they're maybe not fans of you, and they see what you've done around the world, it's incredible.
I don't know if we were just in a bubble of you're always working. You're not really paying attention to stuff, and it's not the whole world is talking about all these things, right? So you just, everything feels kind of like you're just sort of under the radar to a certain degree. We don't pay attention to it. It's not like it gets talked about. So we've always just kind of done our thing. And I think as this has been winding down and it's been a final tour and a final album, people are being a little bit more vocal about that kind of stuff. So we're kind of hearing it for the first time. So we're recognizing it for the first time in a way and like trying to process it, but we're also so busy doing concert after concert every night, so we don't really pay attention to too much stuff other than what we're working on.
I want to ask you about Congo because we did talk. You and I sat down and talked about Congo after you went. But first we have to have more questions because
Sure.
we have so many in the audience. So if we could get maybe 2 or 3 more questions from the audience, that would be great.
Kristen Hill.
Kristen, are you here?
Right over here.
Oh, okay, great.
It's always the opposite
I
side.
know. It's never going to work out.
Hi guys, thanks for your music. I just wanted to ask, what is your favorite or most memorable concert that you guys have performed?
Oh, wow.
I mean, there's a lot, but I mean, obviously last night's going to be
Yeah.
a
That
big
one.
one.
Paris
But
as
if we
well.
were to take that one out, because it's an obvious one,
Paris was one for sure because it
Oh,
was
yeah.
the biggest
Paris-
headlining show we'd ever done.
I mean, you know, doing the MTV 20th anniversary
Yeah, it was massive.
thing
Yeah.
was just such a big moment for us to kind of launch us into a worldwide name, which was back in 2001. So that's probably my most memorable, just because of what it meant for our career. It kind of brought us to the world.
Yeah.
When I was reading the book, and I think probably everybody feels the same, but you would mention something like that. Like you would mention MTV, and then immediately I'd, put my bookmark in, go look at YouTube, go watch the entire video, then go back to the book, right? Every single time you reference something like making a video, I would go back and then come again. So the MTV Music Awards, Tommy Lee.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You said in your book. You said do you remember? Like, I'm sure it's your book. When you were in the washroom, you felt his presence.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
I was in the washroom when I interviewed him at the Edge,
Okay.
and he came in, and I swear to God, I felt his presence.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
He's
what is
got
up with that?
some energy.
There is something there that it was
Yeah.
crazy. Do you still talk to him today?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. Totally. We all do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Zumo's good friends with him. Zumo played in Motley Crue for a bit.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you filled in for
Wow.
Tommy when.
Wow.
What did Tommy do?
He burned his hand with sparklers on his girlfriend's birthday.
Fireworks.
Fireworks. So I got flown out, no rehearsal, no sound check, did 2 weeks of Crew Fest with them, and that's how Derek and I connected a lot too, because we had, Tommy as a
Mutual
good
friend
friend,
through
so
Tommy,
we were
yeah.
always together hanging and, sitting behind Tommy's kit together, watching Motley play and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Tommy's been like this sort of like, he kind of weaves in and out of our story through our whole career, which is interesting.
It's really interesting. What a guy, right,
Yeah.
to do that, Tommy Lee. Congo, I feel like that must have been a pivotal point for you guys as a band to understand maybe as kids too, like that there's more out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Just like how that affected your music, how that affected you as a person.
Well, I mean, I guess you think about everything you know about growing up in a place like Ajax and turn it completely upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what the kids experience in the Congo. I mean, how did you feel when you first got there?
I mean, yeah, we were just at that age where we were just starting to realize that there's so much going on out in the world. Like, we grew up here and everything's a certain, it's very simple. And then we start traveling the world and realize there's all these issues and problems and things going on in the world and when we found out about, just this civil war that had just destroyed Congo. And it was all over the country's minerals, which is what we consume for things like our computers and cell phones and stuff like that, right? And there's these child soldiers, and it just goes on forever. And we were like, well, we got to go over there and make a documentary and bring this whole story to light, because it blew us away. And we're like, nobody knows about all this stuff, and it's about what we all consume on a daily basis. And then going over there and just seeing how torn apart the country is, and And then, there had been a ceasefire there for a year. So we were told it was supposed to be safe, but then, of course, typical Sum 41 fashion, the war starts back up while we were there, and we were caught in the middle of it. And we were stuck there for 3 days, in the middle, like literally in the middle, because there was a rebel group on one side of this, if you want to call it a hotel. It was like a series of kind of like huts or whatever you would call it, like that we were staying in. And on the other side was like the Congolese army. And they were fighting back and forth, and we were in the middle. We couldn't leave. So the hotel was getting hit with, stray bullets and mortar rounds and rocket-propelled grenades and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think now that Sum 41's done that maybe you'll revisit that part of your life?
I thought you were going to say revisit the Congo. No.
Well, I mean, no, hopefully not,
No.
right? But like the war child, the giving back, the
Yeah,
giving back to-
definitely.
I work with War Child to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's another organization called Make Music Matter that does the same thing over there. Craziest thing about the Congo, though, was you hear about all the wars on like CNN and stuff like that. They weren't talking about the Congo at all. So it was like this thing of like, how aren't they, why is it the Congo that they're not talking about, but they're talking about this war, but not this war? That was kind of fascinating to me.
Yeah, probably made you incredibly upset. Frank, talk about ways that you give back, because I know you spoke a little bit about Metalworks, and it was great.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to travel the world doing workshops where I go in and work with the local music schools with all these upcoming amazing kids. And I wanted to do something special because this was our last Canadian run. I've never done workshops. So in between Toronto shows, I went to Metalworks, which was so full circle because the band did their first recordings there. And I got to perform a Sum 41 set with all these kids from local School of Rocks in the community, and then just have like real talk about life and mental health and just all this great stuff. And it was just really cool to see this upcoming amazing talent and kind of give them that little push in the direction that, it was a lot of questions like, how do I get my band to the next level, or just a lot of life, real talk stuff, which was really special to do that for the community. And School of Rock has been so great with, being my partner in doing these. I'm doing one in Vancouver after the Junos and a bunch more in America this year, so I'll be focusing on a lot of that stuff once this all wraps up.
Thank you. That's incredible. If we could get to a couple more questions, and then we have a message from a school, or a whole bunch of fans who are at a school want to give you a message. But first, if we could do a couple more questions, that would be great.
Kim Segarak.
That row is popular.
Oh my God, here we go again.
Yeah.
You need 2 mics.
Thank you. Hi, guys. So this question is for Derek. I just finished reading your Walking Disaster book, and I actually listened to the audio version.
Okay.
And guys, listen to the audio version. They have good music clips in it. It's awesome.
Cool.
The book itself was awesome. It was really good. I
Thanks.
just wanted to know what made you decide to write your story? Like, what inspired you to want to put that out there?
The idea of writing a book had been around for a little while. I'd been approached for a few years. I kind of always thought it was a bit strange of an idea. I just didn't really feel like it was the right time. But as we were talking about wrapping the band, winding it down and making a final album, it all of a sudden kind of made sense to do a book at the same time and just kind of just put this whole chapter in one thing together, right? It just felt like it was the right time for the first time.
Did you write that on your own?
I did, yeah. I didn't mean to.
Unbelievable.
No, I started.
How did that work?
Well, because usually with books you have like a co-writer, somebody to help you kind of go through it. And I started. So when I sort of signed the publishing deal to do a book, we had another person who had written books, and I liked what they had done with other books. So we started going down the process. But as I started reading what we were putting together, or mostly what he was kind of putting, basically like they take your words and they put it onto paper. And as I was reading, I was like, well, that doesn't sound like me though. Like I know I said like everything I said, yeah, the information's there, but it doesn't read like how I would write. Right. So anyways, long story short, we just kept clashing and clashing to a point where I was like, I can't put out a book that doesn't sound like me. So I just fired him. And, and then they said, well, that's great. I mean, you still have your deadlines, though. So one way or another, this book has to be handed in 8 weeks or something like that. I was like, well, I guess I got to start writing. So I just started writing. And I finished it in about 6 weeks. And then that was about it.
That's it. Like, I've been sitting here struggling with, because I read so many of these books all the time, and I was struggling with what makes this book different and why did it affect me so much more. And I thought maybe it's because you're local. Maybe I'm a picker. I know you, but it's not that. It's because you wrote it. Like, everybody else has a ghostwriter, but you wrote this. So cool. If we could do 3 more questions, and then we're going to get to the video, if that's cool.
Luke Lindsay. Do we have Luke Lindsay? Hey.
Hey guys.
Hey.
You guys kind of already answered this, but my question was, you guys talked about this being your final show of the final tour, but is there any chance that you guys could possibly do a festival or...
I was going to say like my birthday party.
No, a Warped Tour or something.
Warped Tour. Just one.
I think we got that offer.
I think the best you're going to get is us hanging out at a show of a band that we like, to be honest.
You'll see us in front of a stage. I don't know about on it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Jessica Rothman.
Okay. Hi.
Hey.
Just since you said that you'd be sitting in a band that you would like, I wanted to know what artists do you actually listen to now? So, and perhaps how have your music tastes evolved or changed over time? And this is for all of you.
Oh, wow.
I'm really bad at that. For like music tastes evolving.
You're a classic.
It's still like kind of what I've always listened to, which is, there's going to be like the punk rock stuff. You have your Sex Pistols, Clash, and all the 90s stuff, like, NoFX and, all down that line. But then there's like the Aerosmith, the Rolling Stones, and Led Zeppelin, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Sabbath, and Metallica.
Yeah. You also have like an impressive like classic music knowledge. Like, like you were telling me this song that I'd been hearing for years. You're like, oh yeah, that's ELO.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, I understand that. For me, I'm listening to a band called Lambrini Girls lately. Really, really good punk rock band. People call it proto-punk. I think it's kind of its own thing.
It's kind of everything now. I used to just listen to like metal and grunge and punk, but now I listen to jazz and Motown and rocksteady and reggae, and so it's like kind of everything now. So that's kind of how it's changed. So when I was a teenager, it's like has to be rock, it has to be hard rock. So now it's kind of everything.
Early in the day, it's got to be something softer, some like country folk or something like that. Elliott Smith, Boy Genius. Let's ease into the day. Then I get into the rock and roll, listen to Idols, or Frankie and the Witchfingers, or something cool and riffy. And then at night, it's Chopin or Debussy, something to taper off.
Very specific.
The reason I fell in love with Sum 41, as a fan, was because it merged all the styles that I loved: hip hop, rock, punk, metal, and that was my favorite music and still is. When I listen to a record and I'm taken on a journey, it's not just one vibe. If I'm feeling super emo one day, there's like Pieces to go to. It was like it checked all these boxes, and Chuck was one of my favorite records ever when it came out. So that's still my vibe, all of the stuff that influences us. And if I had to say something new, this crazy German band I just actually filled in for in Australia called Electric Callboy, and they're rad. So it's a fun one.
Great band.
Chuck, did he show up? Have you guys seen him lately?
We haven't seen him
In a long
lately,
time.
no.
He came to our show in Vancouver around that time.
Yeah,
when
years
the
ago.
album came out, and then I don't think we've really kept in contact with him for some reason. I don't know why.
Somebody came up to me recently and said, he says hi, but that was...
That's nice.
Yeah.
He was.
He's not coming to the shows
He didn't
anymore.
come to the show last
He's
night.
like, I
though, but
saved
that's
you
okay.
guys. Yeah. I'm done with that.
He's busy saving the world. He's
Yeah.
out there with his helmet on, saving the world. Was there anyone last night that showed up that you didn't expect that you saw?
Chris Shaw, yeah, an old friend from high school.
Yeah, he's from here.
Anyone else from Exeter High
The
School?
well, everybody remembers
You're from
Ken
Exeter?
Shaw.
Exeter, wow.
There we
look at
go,
Exeter
yeah.
High
Is
School.
there,
alone.
is there anyone in the audience here that you didn't expect to show up that you see that you recognize from back in the day?
Finland and France.
Yeah.
Finland and France, shout out to them.
Thought it was an Ajax.
If we could, maybe if you want to call 3 names right away, and then we'll do each question, that would be great, because I know we have a lot of them.
Brooke, no last name. Awesome. And I've got Bond Bleckman
Oh, there's Bond.
and Chrysaline Teo.
Hi.
Hey, bro. Hello.
Just wanted to say the show last night was really good, by the way. I flew in from England.
Thanks.
I wanted to know that, would you ever release, like, you know, like you had the old skits, like 10800 Justice and, like, The Mustache and Basketball Butcher. If there's any, like, unreleased ones that you'd ever think to release in, like, an archive type thing.
There is.
Unreleased?
I don't know.
There's
a couple unreleased videos.
There's a couple unreleased.
There's some ones that are better unreleased, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they'll come out.
Yeah.
Or, like, any old videos that, like, haven't, if you'd ever do, like, an archive type thing.
Anything that's unreleased would probably not come out. There's not a lot of unreleased stuff. It's just, I don't think it would come out. It didn't come out for a reason. Because it was mostly just because it wasn't that good.
It was too much even for us. So I was like...
Thank you. Isn't it really messed up how you guys, really digital is what really got you that big record deal? I mean, your music was already there. It was fantastic. But digital...
It got people to pay attention to the
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now look at the world that we live in. You probably run away from, because I know, you know, even just from your book, like when you say the desperation of the TikTokers.
Yeah.
Right? But really, like, that's how you guys were discovered at the beginning.
Yeah, but it was all on VHS and DVD, and we did all that same kind of stuff. We were showing our personalities and all the pranks that we did and all the havoc we caused in Ajax.
And that's the moment where they were like, yes, let's sign
Yeah, all
up.
the stuff of us just like causing trouble around town and just like doing dumb pranks. And then we put our music over top of it, and that's what we sent to record companies. And because the visuals were funny, it made them pay attention to the music, and it showed our personalities, and people were like, you know, the executives were like, this will work.
I love it. I love it. Next question.
All right, so my favorite song of all time from Sum 41 is It's What We're All About, which was famously used for the Spider-Man movie. And I just wanted to know if you can take us through like any memories of you getting the offer to doing the music video for the movie.
Yeah, well, I do talk about that one in my book, actually, because we were kind of against doing that.
Yeah.
It was originally that song was just a small kind of 20-second, 30-second thing on, or maybe it's a minute long on Half Hour Power, and we always thought it was just a cool little moment on that record. Now, once Fat Lip came out and In Too Deep had come out, the record company really wanted something. And I guess the Spider-Man movie had contacted us and the record company, and they wanted something. And for some reason, they thought this What We're All About thing on Half Hour Power would be great as a real full 3.5-minute song. And we kept saying, we don't really like it. I mean, it was great as it is, but as a full song, we're not really sure. And then they kept upping the ante, and they're like, well, you know, Rick Rubin, this great producer, wants to do it. So if he thinks it's great, like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. And we were just kids, so we were like, well, if Rick Rubin, I mean, he produced the Beastie Boys and Run DMC and all this stuff. Like, I mean, it just went on, like, the list goes on. So we were like, well, he must know what he's talking about. So we did the song, and we still didn't like it.
Yeah.
And then, but, you know, we'd done the song, and it was going for the movie. It became the first single, so all of a sudden we were kind of obligated to make a music video for it. So that's how that happened. It was all against our will.
Last question.
Hi, guys. This question actually comes from my partner who wanted to be here today, but he couldn't, and he says thank you for the music, first of all.
Oh, cool.
So he said, when the first time I heard Landmines, he actually put it on for me and said, guess who this is? And I couldn't figure it out, and he's like, it's Sum 41, which was a surprise to me because of how modern the production sounded. But the more I listened, the more I realized, yeah, it is. Obviously, I can hear Derek and like the ahs in the choruses and like the octave guitars. So my question was what the songwriting process and production process was like, blending the modern style with like your guys' signature style.
I don't know. I never really thought about it as modern or retro or anything. I just felt like when the song was written, to me, it felt like, wow, this is like classic Sum 41. But, you know, again, with these songs, that was one of those songs that was written very quickly. It was under 10 minutes. It was like one of those ones that just came out from beginning to end. And I remember thinking there was something special about it. But I also thought, you know, like we hadn't had a song that had done well at radio in a while. Music styles had changed. They weren't really playing our kind of music for a long time on radio. So I remember saying to my wife when I wrote it, I was like, I think I just wrote a hit song. She was like, oh, really? I go, but not for us. And she was like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, it would be a hit song if it was another band, but radio won't play it because it's Sum 41 and it just won't happen. And, you know, and then that song was around for a while because I wrote it the early days of the whole lockdown pandemic. And so there was, you know, it was 2 years before we even started getting into the studio and doing stuff and getting back out there. And it was like 3 years since that song was written before it went to radio. And then it took off, and to all of our surprise. And then it went number one. You know, the whole thing was just like this wild experience that none of us expected.
Don't you hate radio too?
That's not the first time that's happened,
radio.
though, the not playing Sum 41. That happened after Chuck, right? Like, where they just did not even want to hear our songs.
Yeah.
Weren't you running a radio station at that time, too?
Was I sorry? Listen, I'll tell you, a lot of people don't know, but I did have control of music at the Edge at the very beginning. And when you guys were, I think, like, when we were playing you all the time, I did have control of them. But then shortly after, they realized that like announcers should not have control of the music, and then we got nothing. We had to, you know, we just had to play what they told us to play, and it still happens. To
That was
this day.
around the time, like that's what happened everywhere, like in the U.S. and
Sure.
and that's when things got all of a sudden. It was like if you weren't played on one station, then you weren't played on any stations. All of a sudden, it was kind of like it was like a nationwide type thing.
Well, that was the power, unfortunately, and fortunately, depending on who you are,
Mhm.
of the Edge in Toronto, because at the time it was the biggest radio station that Canada had. So whatever they played, everybody else played.
Yeah.
But if they didn't play you, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
And that's really not fair, right? Like it was really not a fair way for musicians
But
to get heard.
in some ways, it was great for us because we realized, okay, we can't live and die by radio, and we're going to go out there and tour and build up our fan base by just playing night after night, and we did. And we did that. It took a long time to just slowly build that up over a decade to get to a point where it just didn't matter anymore, where if we got radio or had media exposure or whatever, that was like a bonus, but we could go out and sell out big places without any of that. It took a long time to get there.
But you got there, and
but
wow,
we did.
look at you now, right? If we could, this is really cool, guys. If you want to take a look at the video here, we have J. Clark Richardson Collegiate. They have a special message. They're all watching, I do believe, from here to you guys. They have a message to you guys.
Hey, Sum 41, it's Sean. Thank you for so many great years of your music and 31 live shows. We love you guys. We'll miss you very much.
Hey, Sum 41, thanks so much for all the memories.
Hi, Sum 41. I'm Nikki. This is Josh. Thank you so much for all your music. We really love it. I'm sad to see you go.
Thank you, guys.
Sum 41, one of the greatest bands to ever do it. They showed me from a young age that a kid from this little town can make it big. Thank you guys. We love you guys.
Sum 41, I just want to say thank you so much for the music over the last 20 years. I grew up listening to you guys. I'm really going to miss you. I went to your concert last night. It was epic show, and thanks so much.
My name is Melanie, and my older sisters are big-time Sum 41 fans, and we love you, Sum 41.
Good evening, Sum 41. My name is Steve Houston. Going to illustrate this picture commemorating your last show.
Hey guys, you guys are the reason I started playing guitar, and you're the reason I'm here today. Thank you. I love you.
We love you, Sum 41. Thank you for your music.
Last question. What's next?
No idea.
The Juno Awards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we will be able to see you once more. I don't know if that's known yet, but
I think it's
pretty
out there.
amazing.
No?
Is it out there?
Yeah.
Is it out there? Okay, okay, good. So we will see you at the Junos, right? And then, is there anything that you are working on, like Cone? I know you've been doing radio. Is that something you're looking at doing more of?
Yeah, I'll continue to do that, but I don't think, I just didn't want to stress myself out with what am I going to do February 1st.
Right.
I think
Just want to enjoy this.
Good.
The end of it, and just
we've
kinda
been so
see what happens.
focused on putting on the best show possible, the best tour possible, and that takes up all our time. So to have your mind thinking about what I'm going to do next and what are we, it's just, it takes you out, and it's also going to take you out of enjoying this last tour.
Yeah.
So I think we've all just been focused on what we're doing, and we'll figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah. Oddly enough, we just got a text from an old friend who had basically said, like, make sure you take time to rest, relax, recover. And he's like, trust me, I've been fired 5 times.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Is there a happy ending to that?
He said, do you,
okay?
just
keep
have a
getting
job
fired?
for me at the end of it? Yeah.
I still have a couple more things to say to you, but right now we should bring up the Deputy Mayor of Ajax, Sterling Lee. He's going to come up on the stage and give you a special presentation.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in the audience who got one of 200 tickets, and those of you watching at home who unfortunately couldn't get the tickets. My name is Sterling Lee. I'm the Deputy Mayor of the Town of Ajax. First things first, on behalf of the Town of Ajax, Sum 41, welcome home. Between Josie Dye and Sum 41, I am a young man again. And I'm going to break out that N64 if you guys don't mind. I'd like to point out a few people joining us today. We have Ward 1 Regional Councilor Marilyn Crawford. We have Ward 3 Regional Councilor Joanne Dyes. We have Ward 2 Local Councilor Nancy Henry. And Ward 3 Local Councilor Lisa Bauer. Regrets from the mayor, who unfortunately could not be here today, but I think he was backstage with you last night. And of course, Ward 1 Councilor Rob Tyler Moran, who actually has a gig of his own, the music man himself. Also joining us is Regional Chair for Durham Region, John Henry, is here somewhere. Over there. Thank you for joining us. We also have members of our town senior staff here. We have Shane Baker, CAO. We have Diane Valentin, Director of Finance, Christy McLarty, Director of Public and Strategic Affairs, representing Recreation and Culture, Andrew Norris, Manager of Recreation Programs and Active Living, and representing Ajax Library, Jason Torrell, Manager of Corporate Services. And of course, thank you to all our staff who helped make this possible. Sam, Ashley, Poonam, Bobby G, Amanda, Steph, anyone we didn't miss. This was an amazing event you guys were able to throw together, so we really appreciate it. I'm honored to say it was Sum 41 that reached out to the Town of Ajax with the offer to create this incredible opportunity for our residents. We are so incredibly proud to welcome them home. Yeah, please. Sum 41 are a huge inspiration to young people in our town who are looking to create music or art and one day dream of doing that on the global stage. Thank you for remembering your hometown and for celebrating your incredible career with the people that raised you and who are your earliest fans. Last week, we were happily joined by some of your family members to temporarily rename Falby Court as Sum 41 Way. This is the street where the band met at Exeter High School. The sign will remain there until March 30th, when the band is inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. So Josie mentioned we have gifts. So first things first. Can we get Ajax Council up, I think? Because, yeah, very quickly. We have a replica of the street sign for each and every one of you. You'll put those prominently in your homes, I hope. In addition to the street naming, the Town of Ajax is honored to offer the members of Sum 41 the key to the Town of Ajax. So, to the band, y'all are so important. We created the key for you. This did not exist before this moment today. So this is kind of a big deal. So very quickly, the inscription reads, the Town of Ajax presents the key to the town to each of the band members, Derek Whibley, Dave Backish, Jason McCaslin, Tom Thacker, and Frank Zumo, in recognition of storied musical career and contribution to the arts. Do you want to come up here? We're going to take them back now, so just for the picture. The first key ever. I know, it's amazing. So I know you said, reunion is, we'll talk about that, but eventually Ajax is going to have our own wall of fame. We hope you'll come back for that. I'm sure you'll be one of the first people on there. But that's it. Thank you all for motivating our town to work hard and dream big. So, no one wants to hear me speak. Are there any final words you'd like to share with the residents of Ajax and anyone watching at home?
Are the mics on, or do we go?
I think the mics are on, yes, sir.
Check. Put my hand in my water. So nervous. It's just, this place, even though it's very relatable, growing up in a suburban atmosphere, I think we all had unique lives that we were able to share with each other through meeting each other here. And it launched us on a trajectory that we would sit and dream about, sitting in our cars after, after school, sitting on the couch, My dad asking me why I'm talking to Derek for 3 hours on the phone.
Yeah.
It's been really special for us, this city. Is that it?
Exactly what you said.
But it was a great
I mean,
place to grow
like
up.
I was
Yeah.
saying earlier, it's like, this growing up here is, we felt creative, we felt inspired, and we felt excited to, just make music and become a band. And for whatever reason, we felt this confidence that we could go out and do it. And it's probably from our upbringing here and just, it's those things that we don't even really know why, but in a big way, the city played a big part in why we're here.
Yeah. And it was a bit of a melting pot as well, which was beautiful.
Thank you so much. We'll turn it back to Josie to close the show. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, seriously, from the bottom of our hearts, I know this journey, there were highs, there were lows, but you gave so much to us, the fans. You gave us every single song, every single note, every single lyric that you wrote. It's the soundtrack to our lives. So we really, really appreciate it, and thank you for coming home.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate you.
And that concludes